Okay, when you think about what makes a hospital good, what comes to mind? Probably, skilled doctors, amazing nurses, the latest high-tech gear, right? But what if I told you the single most important thing for your safety is something you'll probably never, ever see?
I mean, really think about it. Imagine you're in that hospital bed. Who is really in charge of making sure everything goes right? From making sure the room is clean, to the right dose of your medicine, to ensuring the person operating on you has everything they need. Who's got the final say on your safety?
Yep, it's the leadership, the people you never meet. Their decisions, made in boardrooms far from your room, create the entire system, the culture, the priorities that guide every single thing that happens at your bedside. They're like the hospital's invisible engine.
So this invisible engine, what does it actually do? Let's dive in and really trace that line, all the way from the boardroom right down to your hospital room. You'll see just how much those high-level decisions impact the care you get.
Okay, so when we say leadership and governance, what are we even talking about? Basically, it's the folks who set the hospital's entire direction. They're the ones asking the big questions. Are we going to focus on getting more patients in and out, or are we going to focus on ultimate patient safety? Do we spend millions on flashy new surgical tech, or do we invest in more training for our nurses? They literally hold the blueprints for the entire hospital. And this right here is where the rubber really meets the road. A leader's vision, it's not just some fancy plaque on a wall. Nope. It's what decides if a nurse feels confident enough to speak up and double-check a prescription. And that budget for resources, that's not just a number on a spreadsheet. It's the difference between having enough staff on a crazy busy night or not. Every single one of these points is a decision that can stop a problem before it even starts.
All right, so that's the why. We get it. Leadership is crucial. But the next logical question is, how? How do the best leaders actually pull this off? What's the blueprint they use to build a hospital that's genuinely safe?
Well, it turns out the most effective leaders build their strategy on 4 pillars that all lean on each other. It's got to start with step 1, a super clear vision for quality. But look, a vision is just a dream without pillar 2, resources. You just can't do safety on a shoestring budget. And once you have those resources, that's what enables pillar 3, accountability, because now you can actually check if the tools and the training are working. And all of that lets you get to pillar 4, proactively managing risk. So you're not just reacting to problems, you're staying one step ahead of them.
And this quote, man, this really gets to the heart of it all. It's one thing to set a goal. It's a totally different thing to own it, right? A policy sitting in a binder on a shelf, that's not saving anybody. But a leader who actually shows up, who digs into the safety data, who asks the hard questions, that's what creates real, lasting change.
Okay, so how does this all go from being a plan on paper to being the day-to-day reality on the hospital floor? This is where it gets really interesting, because this is where we see how a great leader doesn't just write policies, they build an entire culture of safety.
And this comparison right here, this might be the single biggest shift a leader can make. Think about it. In a blame culture, when something goes wrong, the first question is always, whose fault is this? So what happens? People hide their mistakes, they're scared, and the system never gets better. But in a blame-free culture, the question completely changes. It becomes, what went wrong with our system that allowed this to happen? And that one little change, it changes everything. It encourages people to report issues, which lets everyone learn from them, which makes the entire hospital safer for you.
And this is what that kind of leadership looks like in the real world. They lead by example, they're actually walking the floors and talking to staff, they're making sure different departments are actually collaborating instead of working in silos, and at the same time, they're not just guessing, they're using hard data to make decisions, and maybe most importantly, they're recognizing and rewarding the people on the front lines who make all this safety stuff actually happen. So after all that, the vision, the resources, the blame-free culture, what's the bottom line? What's the real payoff when you get this invisible engine firing on all cylinders? The payoff is this incredible positive feedback loop. It all starts with leadership creating a culture of trust. That trust empowers the staff to actually use the resources they're given and feel safe reporting problems. And all that honest reporting, that's what fuels continuous improvement. The hospital becomes this living, breathing system that's always learning and always getting safer for every single patient.
And that's the key right there. Active leadership. It's the accelerator. It doesn't just nudge things along, it puts the pedal to the metal on improvement and builds patient trust like nothing else. It proves that safety isn't just some policy, it's a practice, and it's led from the very, very top.
So the next time you find yourself thinking about hospital quality, I want you to look past the shiny new buildings or the fancy websites. The real measure of how safe a hospital is, well, it might just be its invisible engine. And it leaves you with one big question to ask. Who's in the driver's seat? And did they build that engine with your safety in mind?